everyone, it's your girl Lala and I'm back with another video. So today's video is going to be review slash recap on Ready to Love Season 6, The Reunion Part 2. Now let's get into the video. So we start out with the argument with Precious and Laverne from last week. So here we find out that Sabrina is saying that Carmen is the one who called her with the whole plan to let's get Laverne axed. And so later on, Ace is brought into the conversation, and it appears that Ace is pretty much co-signing what Sabrina is saying in regards to Ace is saying that that's how, she recalls hearing it from Sabrina. So it appears that whole plot came from Carmen. I am not surprised. I am so not surprised. Carmen. Whew, Carmen. So then we get to Demetrius. And so I didn't realize how much the women were feeling Demetrius in the beginning. I mean, the ladies were all over Demetrius in the beginning. I totally forgot because I guess, it got to the point where, it just seemed like it was just Sabrina. So I totally forgot. But Tommy asks him, about how he felt as being categorized as a player. And Demetrius is like, well, he doesn't, understand why he was being categorized as a player. Why instead of being categorized as a player, why couldn't he be categorized as a confident, cool guy, etc.? And I'm with Demetrius on that because you know what? Demetrius didn't give me player vibes at all. He did give me lots of confidence. I think that's where Dakia got that whole thing where she felt that BDE or whatever. You definitely get that vibe from Demetrius, but I didn't get player vibe from him. So I don't think that was rightfully given to him. So moving on, then Tommy asked Tina, about, what she thought of Demetrius or whatever. And so Tina kind of goes into that, when she first came on, she was guarded. And then it kind of sounds like basically, it seems like her opinion of Demetrius got swayed by the women. It seems like she heard some things from the women from their opinion. And she kind of flagged Demetrius with that, with that personality or those characteristics, which is a little unfair. Tina, you definitely should have came in and got to know Demetrius fully for yourself. So, but then she also did say she was guarded, but it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, Tina was not committed to the process. This wasn't even for her. So I don't really think it matters either way. So then we go on and then he asks, Sabrina, of course, about her opinion, whatever, something with Demetrius. And Sabrina goes into all these compliments about him being tall, dark, and handsome, and capable, and all of this other stuff. Well, Sabrina, what happened? Well, I don't know. I guess we know what happened because I don't know. It seems like, from the last review, if you guys recall, I said that I kind of felt that I don't think her and Demetrius were able to get back. Were able to get kind of back on track after, I guess, he had got the information of what Donovan had told him about the kiss or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, so, she gives him all these attributes or whatever. But then she also gets into, she does say she has a list of about 15 to 16 things on it. And she was like, not too much, just 15 to 16 things. Sabrina, 15 to 16 things? That's a little much, sis. Okay. So then they get into, and she does say, actually Demetrius says that, he reached out to Sabrina, afterwards. And Sabrina had told him that, she was only interested in a friendship. And so, it seems like that's where they left off. And I guess that's what it is. But Demetrius did say that he is now dating. So, interesting. I hope Demetrius does find the one. He seems like a really, really nice guy. Since the show, I have went on to his IG page and just kind of looked at, some of his posts over the last few months or whatever. And he's a really, really, really like nice dresser. Like Demetrius' style is amazing. I love his, his style. I love his confidence. I actually am liking Demetrius a lot more now after the show than I did during the show. During the show, he just strikes me as, I think I might have mistaken his confidence a little bit for a little more cocky, but I think it's because, Demetrius is more of an introvert. And I think that's what it is. And I think it can come off between, his style and the confidence. I think it can come off as a little cocky, but really, I think it is just confidence. And because he is an introvert, I think that he's a bit more reserved, and you can mistake that for like, him just maybe being a little full of himself or whatever. So, during the reunion and just, now, I don't know. I see a little, well, I should say I see him in a bit of a different light. Now he definitely does not strike me as a Donovan at all. Not that he ever did. He didn't strike me as like that self-absorbed Donovan. He didn't. He just striked me with a little bit more of a touch of just a little, little cockiness or whatever. But I'm liking Demetrius. I am. Good luck to you, Demetrius. I hope you found your person. So now we're at Paul and Paul's connection. So we know that Paul's connection was Precious and Zakiya and Tina at one point, but we know Tina ghosted everybody, so we know how that went. But we get into the connection with Precious, and it seems as though Precious was really feeling Paul. I mean, if you guys remember, Precious kind of kept Paul in the game because she was fighting tooth and nail in deliberations for Paul. I mean, she just was going on and on about Paul, and I believe that she was the reason that Paul actually did end up lasting this long and not getting eliminated. I believe the first or second time that he was up for elimination. But he sure enough didn't return a favor because he didn't fight for Precious not a bit when it came to her turn up there on the chopping block. But anyway, so we move on, and then we also see his connection with Zakiya, which we know was no connection. We knew that was a nod. Come on, like, I'm disappointed in them for that because we all knew that was like just non-existent. Like, come on. So they could have kept that. But anyway, so we get to a point where Carmen makes the comment or something about Paul not being attracted to, Zakiya. Paul is like, he didn't say that. He's saying that he didn't say it. He's sticking by it. So Paul is saying that I guess me not saying I was attracted to her got interpreted to Carmen as me not being attracted to her. Paul, what? Come again? What? I don't know, Paul. But Paul, you're looking real, real shady out here. Like, you're looking extremely shady with these comments and things that, Carmen is saying that you said. I don't know, Paul. I don't know. And so then Zakiya, she chimes in, and Zakiya, she says that she feels like Carmen, is saying these things because, because Carmen is upset that Paul would compliment Zakiya and he wasn't giving Carmen the same compliments. As you guys saw, Zakiya got a lot of compliments on qualities, like the way she carried herself and, just different things that were internal type of more so qualities. Where meanwhile, a lot of the compliments for Carmen seem to be more physical and a little more sexual. So I don't know if Zakiya has it right with that, and that's why Carmen is salty, and if in fact, but first off, we don't know if Paul is telling the truth or if it was Carmen who was telling the truth. I don't know. Between the two of them slickses, Listen, at this point, I don't know, because Paul was as slick as Carmen. So listen, we ain't gonna never know. Unless somebody pull up some audio receipts or something, we get something else later, we'll never know. Then we find out that Mr. Kia now has a boyfriend. Say what now? Say what? I'm gonna tell you something. This season here was nothing but foolery. We'll get into that later on. But the foolery is on 10. So Takia has a boyfriend back home. So from, I guess what she's saying, it was someone who was in her face all along, even though she had to go through this long, drawn-out process of Ready to Love. You know, she found love that was in her face. Best of luck to you, Takia. You deserve it. Takia seems like an amazing woman. Best of luck. And so Paul, he says that Paul also, now he has a dime shorty. Let him tell it at home. Like, what? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Anyway, so then we get to Tina, and I'm like, wow. She came in late in the process, and then she ghosted everybody. But anyway, but Tina said, listen, she had to do what was best for her. So, okay. So Tommy asked Paul, how did he feel about Tina self-eliminating? And so Tommy says, So Paul says, it was mixed or whatever. He had mixed feelings about it, whatever. And next thing you know, Tina is like, Paul's a liar. Tina says that Paul wanted her to self-eliminate to be with her from the start. And that's what Paul was trying to get her to do. Then Tina takes it even further and then drops the bomb that Paul was not here for love. Paul was only here because he wants to sell a book. So he was basically here for promotion and, exposure, that's what it's all about. He wasn't, even here for love. And, she said something about there was someone else who had a conversation or heard the call or she called. I don't know. I forgot what she said regarding that, but it was supposedly someone else who knows this information as well. Paul's denying it up and down, and he's like, I'm a music producer. That's all I do. I'm a music producer, something like that. And he's sticking to that story of a music producer. Tina starts to go in, she starts saying something about your old ass. Then she says that Paul is basically mad because she took Demetrius to meet her ex instead of him. And so I guess she's saying that that's what, got Paul, all riled up and upset with her. And so then they go to Donovan, and Donovan's like, listen, I don't have nothing else to add. When Tina didn't show up for that retreat, I was done. Donovan is like, listen, my name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. Donovan's not here for it. But once again, we have Paul caught up in another, supposedly, he said, she said, where Paul is being said to be a liar. So I don't know. Is Carmen telling the truth? And is Paul lying? But then I don't know, because we get to another situation with Carmen, and it seems like Carmen is still in a hot seat of lies in two other situations. So this is a mess. And these folks are grown. Whoa. So then we get to Precious. Boy, Precious was putting it on thick with the men. Obviously a bit too thick because they sent her home. But anyway, we see her connection with Demetrius. Well, I should say lack of connection with Demetrius. And so we see the clips with her and Demetrius and what happens on their one date, I believe they had. Yes, because Precious said that her and Demetrius had like one bad date and zero conversation. So she's like, how did Demetrius come up with all this stuff about me in regards to being a party girl and I guess the social part and, all of this, that Demetrius had formed in his mind in regards to who she was. And so, she was extremely upset about this. And it seems like she was taking out all of her upsetment about being sent home on Demetrius. So Demetrius is like, well, if you got sent home, I must have not been the only one who felt this way, or, it must have not just been me, because he's like, I don't have the power to send you home. Like, he's like, just me, myself. Like, I don't have the power to send you home. So obviously you either weren't connected with the other guys, or, they felt the same way because you got sent home. Well, Demetri, she's like, listen, at the end of the day, I guess in her mind and for her, it's Demetrius' fault. And so she's going in. And I mean, it just gets it goes left with her and Demetrius. And Demetrius is explaining, and he's saying that I never said you was a party girl. But Precious is like, well, looking at the clips, it was, she saw a clip or something where Demetrius had said something in reference to her being a party girl or being social or something like that. And so she says, she felt like if you didn't connect with me, or, basically like you weren't feeling me, then you could have just said that. You didn't have to say all this other stuff or whatever, I guess, or get me sent home. And Demetrius is like, well, I did say that. He's like, that's what I said. Like, she's not the one for me, basically. Well, this just went left and left and left. And I mean, it got to the point they were going back and forth, and Demetrius is like, listen, what Demetrius is not going to do is go back and forth with you. Let me tell you something. I was here for that, Demetrius. I was here for that. That's that BDE that Dakia was talking about. And that's that alpha and that strong dominance in Demetrius that you got a whiff of, okay? And Precious is like, don't chastise me or something. That's why she felt chastised, because of that presence and energy that he was bringing to that argument. But I mean, it just got so nasty with them, even to the point where, she says, she drops an F-bomb and she's like, F you or something to him. And, and it was so funny when Precious said something and she was like, bro, and Demetrius was like, I'm not your brother. I said, now, Demetrius, this girl is already hotter than fish grease. Why are you going to set her off even more? Demetrius ain't care. He didn't care. So it goes on, and then it gets to a point where Demetrius asks her, are you high or are you drunk? Lord, why Demetrius says this to her? She said the most disrespectful thing. She said, no, bitch. Precious, that is so disrespectful. And she just felt like, she kept saying about how she felt like she was disrespected and everything. And I'm like, what did Demetrius really say? He gave his opinion. You guys are on a show dating, and everyone has a right to their opinion. You didn't get sent home just from Demetrius. A lot of people weren't feeling you. Paul, which was your top connection, even made the comment about something about, her, she made a sexual comment or something that she said, and Paul was turned off by it. So in Demetrius' defense, I think that Precious is so out of line. Number one, for speaking to him this way, because he did not disrespect her in any way. And for her to be so disrespectful was so out of line and really out of pocket. And hey, maybe that's why you got sent home. Just totally out of pocket. So anyway, Precious packs up her stuff and she exits building and left. She's like, I'm out. I'm out of here. And she leaves. But, it seems as though she did what she came to do. She didn't make a connection on the show, but I tell you one thing, she sure did light a match on each of these reunion episodes. Every episode, Precious was just lighting a match. Each reunion. We saw more out of her on the reunion than the season. Because she didn't get to stay, obviously, that long because she was eliminated. So it's just interesting. It's crazy for somebody who was eliminated so early on to have this type of impact and be into so much be into so much of what's going on. Like Donovan said to her on the reunion part 1, he was like, "You wasn't even here long enough to know anything." Well, Donovan, I guess she proved you wrong. So now we're at Zakiya and her dates and her connections, mainly Clifton. And looking at this, I do feel that Clifton did lead her on a bit. I'm a little torn. I'm a little torn with what went on, like what went down between Clifton and Zakiya. But I'll give a little more of my opinion later on. So at the end of the clips that they show, Joy is like, "Those are good edits." I didn't know Joy was so shady. Joy is showing all of her shade at these reunions. Didn't see it during the season, but wow, we're seeing a very different side of Joy at these reunions. So Tommy asked Zakiya, how she felt about how things went at the retreat. And Zakiya expresses that, she was disappointed about how things went. But she, she totally, says that, she knew that Joy and Clifton's connections was strong and they had a clear connection, so she knew this. So Tommy, asked Clifton, had he told Zakiya prior to the trip that, he had picked Joy, whatever. So Clifton makes the comment that, he thought it was pretty clear. He thought it was clear that Joy was his choice, etc. So Joy jumps in, and Joy is like, basically the kid created something in her head that no one saw but her. And, she goes into, and if any woman is going to say that they'll take, someone from somebody else, and we don't get to hear the end of that because I think Zakiya responds or Clifton responds or something. But it seems like, well, Zakiya does say, well, that was out of context or whatever. So I don't know what that part was about. But it seems that there was some other things that had gone on with, I don't know, maybe some things that Zakiya said, maybe some of the footage that Joy has saw that we didn't. I don't know, but Joy came in hot for Zakiya this week, very hot. So it got to a point where, Zakiya said something about, I guess Clifton just giving her a courtesy or whatever, of telling her whatever. And Joy is like, what makes you think you deserve a courtesy? Like, why do you think you deserve a courtesy? Like, do you really? And Zakiya is like, yes, And so Clifton, he makes the comment and he's like, it was visible and apparent with his connection with Joy, so it wasn't any explanation needed. And I was like, ooh, ouch. Wow, Clifton. I don't know how I feel about that. I understand that Joy is your woman and you want to defend her feelings and things like that because Joy is obviously was upset by Zakiya in some way. But I don't know. I just feel like Clifton was out of line for that because the thing is that Zakiya did say that she was still talking to Clifton every day and every day or either, very frequently, one or the other. But she was talking to him. She was talking to him. We don't know what those conversations were, but I feel like there had to be some level of Clifton giving her hope and leading her on. So with that being said, Clifton, you needed to stay out of it because if you're not innocent in a matter of making her think that there was a possibility or you wasn't all the way sure on selecting Joy, then I mean, why make, I don't know. I was very I was very surprised by that comment from Clifton and just that behavior. That wasn't cool to me. I think he could have handled that. I think he could have handled that a little better, especially since he hadn't told her before the retreat, and he had her to believe that they were going to, further explore their connection. Now, granted, we can sit and have the same, outlook on it that Clifton and Joy showed us. It doesn't matter what he was saying to Takia, because his actions were saying everything. Because let me tell you something, Takia, when you saw that Clifton and Joy was sleeping in that same bedroom and they had them matching pajamas, that should have been it for you then. But I do understand on the other hand what she's saying, because she's just saying the matter of, the common courtesy of just saying, hey, I'm going to pursue my connection, not pursue my connection with Joy, because that had been pursued. I guess to say that this is who I'm selecting, But at the end of the day, would it really have mattered? I mean, it was nobody, it was too late. It wasn't anybody else for the kid to connect with. She, her and Paul did a jump out the window, the fakest connection you could ever try to, force somebody to think that you guys were actually exploring. You guys both knew y'all wasn't interested in each other. So I don't know. I don't really think it maybe would have made a difference. I don't know. This is a sticky one. Because I was taken back a little bit with the kid when she was even crying at the retreat after Clifton had told her, because I'm like, in one sense, the connection with Joy and Clifton was so visible and apparent that what woman, would have even thought that, he was really entertaining them, or there was a real chance. I don't know. What y'all think about this? Who y'all think is wrong? Y'all think Clifton wrong? Y'all think Clifton should have been more upfront? Or do you guys think that Takia, like Joy said, she done put something together in her head with some type of romance that wasn't there? I don't know. I don't know. I'm really on the fence with this. I really am. I really am on the fence with this. But listen, the kid says she got a man, so it doesn't even matter at this point, right? Joy and Clifton together, and the kid got a man, so all is good. So now we're at Wiley and his connections. Poor Wiley. Wiley spent his whole time on here, what seems like just defending his age. Like, poor Wiley. We saw Tina, who was supposed to be brought on as someone who was closer to his age, and Tina didn't want him at all. Tina wanted old Paul initially. Like, Tina didn't want Wiley at all, and she was the only one that was around his age. So Wiley just didn't have a chance. But Wiley said that once he got shot down from, it seems like, the first woman about his age, that, the rest of the women started shooting him down, about his age as well, which, as you guys saw, Keena was the first one that he had talked to, and Keena she wasn't even here for it. She was not entertaining him. When he said he was 32, Keena was like, listen, you knew, she like, no, sir. So Keena wasn't here for it. But Wiley said, that Keena follows him on social media and watches his stories and watch everything that he's doing. So Wiley is making it seem like, hold up, is Keena checking for you? And, so, the question gets asked, so do you think Keena's checking for you? And Wiley's like, yes. Keena is like, no, no, I'm not checking for you. I am not. And so it even gets to the point where Keena's like, I won't be watching your stories or following anymore. I don't blame you, Keena. I don't blame you, because, listen, Wiley, how are you going to say that she's checking for you because she watches your stories? She had an opportunity and she passed. So why are you... I don't know. See, Wiley, that's why the girls wasn't giving you a chance. See, you're giving real immature with that. You see, you just showed your age, Wiley. You showed your age. You see. Well, anyway, somebody was feeling Wiley. Miss Tiffany, which we did see in the season that she really was feeling Wiley. Interesting enough, she was. And so it seems that Tiffany and Wiley, you know, they have been communicating. It looks like they've been on some dates. They've been doing something, because Miss Tiffany was all smiles and just as giddy as you want to be when it came to her, you know, talking about Wiley, and they, you know, were asking her, you know, anything about Wiley. Oh, no. All right. Well, I guess we'll see how that goes, because Tiffany is smiling. Now, Tommy did say, let's see if you smile another 6 months. We want to see. She won't be. She won't be. I don't know if anybody, because, I mean, we know this track record. We're ready to love, okay? We know this track record. Anybody who makes it to the reunion, about a good 4 to 6 weeks after the reunion, the relationship is over. So Ready to Love doesn't have the best track record. We're going to see where this Joy and Clifton go. We're going to see this. Speaking of which, because now we do get to Joy and Clifton, and we get to a part where they take us to that episode where Joy is feeding Clifton, and she almost kills him with that daggone dish with coconuts in it, okay? But let me tell you, boy, Clifton continued that date. Allergic reaction, throat closing, the risk of passing out and all. He continued that date with Joy. I guess we should have known then that they were going to end up together. Because listen, anytime your throat closed and you itching a whole nine and you continue on, I guess that right there is letting you know what it is. So we should have known. So then later on, you know, Clifton is talking and he's saying that, you know, since Joy has been gone, he has been to Mexico, that he has been in Mexico every other week. Wow. Talk about a long distance relationship. I mean, this is an international relationship at this point, right? So he has been traveling to Mexico every other week. He just can't get enough of that daggone Joy. Joy, I don't know what you out here putting on this man, but girl, he just can't get enough. But it's also, but she also can't get enough of him. I love their chemistry and their interactions. I hope it's real. I hope it's real. If Joy and Clifton are playing games with us and are not real, I'm going to be upset. I am going to be so upset if they are totally playing games with us, because they done sold me. They sold me. So anyway, let's go. Let's continue. So next thing you know, Joy is telling us that her and Clifton are talking about having a baby next year. I didn't even think, for some reason, I didn't think Joy wanted kids. I don't know if they ever talked about it or not on any of the episodes, but for some reason I just assumed that she didn't. But so, I mean, they're talking about having a baby next year. Nice. Good for them. Good for them. So now we get to the part that we all have been waiting for. The cliffhanger from last week. And I called it. I was talking to one of my girlfriends and I said, that is not a proposal. It's a key. I knew it was. So anyway, Clifton gets down on one knee with a box, looking like he's about to give Joy a marriage proposal. And he actually asks Joy, will she come home with him? And it's a key inside the box. I knew this wasn't a proposal. I knew they got a lot of people with this, you know, from some of my girlfriends and people I know that watch. They all thought that it was going to be a marriage proposal. And I'm just like, no, I didn't see it. And it wasn't. It was a key. nonetheless, it was really cute. I love them together. I think their love is beautiful. So I really do love them together. I think they have such chemistry. I think they look so great together and vibe so well together. Oh, and also, so Joy did say that she's going to be taking a break from performing. I wouldn't be surprised if Joy ends up, you know, letting go of her, her international gig and, either, finding something, closer to them here, in their home state or the state they live in or something. I don't know. I really think Joy is about to give it all up for love. And especially if they're talking about having a baby. Because how is that possibly going to work if they were to actually have a baby and she works in out of the country in Mexico for 6 months out of the year? So it sounds like Joy is ready to give it all up for love. Good luck to y'all. I hope it's real, and if it is, it's beautiful. I love love, so it's so beautiful to see. So then we get to just as the end of the night now, and Donovan has a nerve to thank Tommy for the process and everything else. And I'm just like, Donovan, what are you thanking for the process for? You ain't found real love. Stop, Donovan. Why? Why are you thanking him? And a few other cast members did have some thank yous for Tommy. Zakia said a really nice thank you as well to Tommy. And we found out tonight she has someone. So she didn't find love on the show, but she still found love. So good to see. So that concludes our time with Ready to Love season 6. So until next time, toodles.